Mr. Hsu, up to 7 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair. Minister, thanks for coming today. I was looking in the news recently. I noticed that Alberta Premier Redford has just returned a few days ago from her 4th trip to Washington, D.C. To plead the case for the Keystone XL pipeline. And as you know, President Obama and Secretary of State John Kerry will be making a decision as to whether or not to approve that pipeline, and it's a very important pipeline for the economy of Canada, as you've said, and that decision hangs in the balance. I mean, why else would the Premier of Alberta make 4 trips to Washington? Why else would Canadian officials be going to the United States so often? What I see in the main estimates in front of me here today, it seems to me undercuts the efforts of the Premier of Alberta for the people of Alberta. And I'm looking at the list of program cuts that has been mentioned by my colleague, Mr. Julian. The Eco-Energy Retrofit Program for Homes cut, the Eco-Energy Technology Initiative cut. And I've got, oh my goodness, I marked it in yellow and my page is covered with yellow. The Clean Energy Fund, Eco-Energy for Biofuels, Sustainable Development Technology Canada for Next Generation Biofuels. We've got Eco-Energy Renewable Power Initiative, Program of Energy Research and Development, and the Eco-Energy Innovation Initiative. So my question to you is, with this long list of things, isn't this embarrassing for the Premier of Alberta when she goes to Washington to try to deal with the fact, as you say, Minister, that Canada is losing tens of millions of dollars a day in revenue because President Obama does not have the social license to approve Keystone XL because we haven't done enough about climate change. And we've got all these cuts in the main estimates right here. And embarrassing and undercutting the efforts of the Alberta Premier. How do you respond to that?
Well, first of all, it's a bit of a stretch to suggest that the President of the United States doesn't have the social license because of Canada. In fact, a strong majority of Americans are in favor of Keystone XL. The governor of every state through which it would go is in favor. A majority of the senators, a majority of the House. But that is not to say that we don't have a responsibility, which we fully accept, to do what is appropriate in terms of addressing this very serious issue. And we have talked when we've gone down to the United States, and I was recently in Chicago and Houston, and I'm going to be next week in New York and Washington again. We've been talking about how our objectives are aligned with the United States in terms of reducing our greenhouse gas emissions by 17% from 2005 by 2020, and we're halfway there. We've talked about how our energy, our standards our fuel standards for automobiles and trucks is identical to the U.S., and how, in some respects, we're ahead of the world. So we're doing a lot, and I can go through some of these issues. What we're doing is financing initiatives that work, that are efficient, that are effective, but also we're looking at ways to be protective of the taxpayers' hard-earned dollars, and where they're less effective, or whether when they've completed their mission, then we decide accordingly.
Okay, let's look at it from the point of view of the President of the United States. I see a line here in the main estimates on page 239 where our spending on energy-efficient practices and lower carbon energy sources is being cut by about $140 million. That's not in line with United States policy. That is not in line with United States policy. That undercuts your argument to the United States for why they should approve the Keystone XL pipeline. This is clear evidence that Canada is not doing as much to deal with climate change, that Canada's policy is not as aggressive as the policy that President Obama outlined in his State of the Union address this year.
So this is the reason.
What about that line in the main estimates, Minister?
So that's the line, and that's the reasons.
Well, firstly, as I mentioned earlier, we have been spending more per capita than the U.S. Funding is declining, and I can give you the specifics. There was a $60 million item for the Eco Energy for Biofuels, which is designed to provide a declining incentive rate, and that related to the take-up we were experiencing. There was an amount in statutory authorities for the sustainable development, and something for the other programs. But as I said, we're proud of the $10 billion. We've committed up to $1.5 billion for domestic production of renewable fuels to meet the demand of Environment Canada's regulations. In 2011, the government announced $195 million over 5 years.
So we're talking about cuts now, right?
No, yeah, but I'm talking about ongoing programs that indicate the continued commitment in significant dollars of the government to the clean energy sector, and we'll continue to support it.
Okay. One last line in the main estimates, Minister. Climate change adaptation initiatives. And I see that 2011-2012 expenditures are about twice as much as what the main estimates are for this coming year. And I'm wondering, does that reflect our decrease in concern for the effects of climate change? Why has that been cut in half? Climate change adaptation initiatives.
I'm not.
Are we less worried? Are you less worried, Minister?
Oh, no, that has nothing to do with it all. Perhaps I could get a detailed answer here.
Mr. Chair,
DuPont, go ahead, please.
yes, as regard climate change adaptation, there is an envelope of $35 million over 5 years for Natural Resources Canada. The change from year to year really reflect, and this was a new program instituted as of budget 2011, and some of the changes from year to year simply reflect the profile of the funding. Some years, depending on where you are in the project, you're spending less. In other years, you're spending more. We are now moving to another phase of the program, but there's going to be a fluctuating profile over the years, and we can certainly provide the committee with the overall profile. It's not a structural declining trend. It's just variation from year to year in the profile.
Thank you.